Hello, my name is Mary Hull-Drury, and I am your Government Affairs Director. As of this recording, there are 33 days left in the 105-day regular session. To date, approximately 2,300 bills have been introduced, and your lobbying team, to include Bill, Riley, Denny, Nick, and myself, are tracking about 10% of the total, or 232 bills to be exact. An interesting data point to keep in mind is, for example, during the 21-22 biennium cycle, only 23% of the bills that were introduced passed, which is fairly average, even though approximately 2,000 bills were presented. This low success rate is because the system is designed to make it hard to pass new laws. Reason being is that the founders wanted to prevent government from easily imposing laws. So the legislative process has many steps throughout the session that can cause bills to fail. Despite many bills presumably not moving forward, there are ways for a bill to be revived. But at the end of the day, it often takes years for a new idea to go through the entire process. And that same bill can be reintroduced in later sessions. So a couple of key dates to keep in mind for this year include January 13th, which was the first day of session, February 13th, which was the Policy Committee cutoff, which was the last day to read committee reports in the House of Origin. February 28th was the Fiscal Committee cutoff, which was the final day to read reports from House Fiscal Committees, so meaning anything to deal with money. And most recently, March 12th, which was the House of Origin cutoff, representing the last day to consider bills in the House of Origin. So, after the House of Origin cutoff, any bill that advanced will move to the opposite chamber, meaning House bills will pass to the Senate and vice versa. From there, those bills will face the same series of deadlines throughout the month of April. Finally, session is scheduled to end on April 27th this year, fingers crossed, for a total of 105 days. So in addition to bill policies, you may have also heard about some budget proposals. Washington State has 3 budgets: capital, transportation, and operating. Focusing on the operating budget that covers everything except transportation and buildings, funded by taxes, fees, and federal grants, which must be used for specific programs. For example, gasoline taxes must go to road maintenance, and healthcare funds must be spent on healthcare. This week, Democrats in the House and Senate presented their budget plans. Admittedly, both chambers have applied what we consider modest cost-saving measures to their respective proposals. They're also seeking new or increased taxes to cover the projected shortfall. Interestingly, initial spending plans will be approved before revenue plans are finalized, meaning both chambers will decide together what programs to fund first before securing available revenue, aka taxes. Ultimately, the 25-27 budget is difficult because the legislature is dealing with a few harsh realities in that they no longer have federal stimulus funds from COVID, and state revenue growth has slowed, meaning that taxes and fees aren't generating as much money as originally projected. At the beginning of session, we projected a combination of budget cuts and raising taxes for additional revenue, and those predictions look like they're coming to bear. So we're tracking issues and engaging members of the legislature on policies and fiscal impacts that would make the cost of housing and affordability more expensive, as well as issues that affect our economy. As you can imagine, things here in Olympia are hopping, and your lobbying team is working hard to advocate for you, your clients, and our industry. And now that our focus is narrowed a bit on some of the bills that are still alive, quote unquote, at least for today, we will have a follow-up for members to review what's left on the docket regarding housing supply, affordability, and fiscal matters. Things like lot splitting, or condo liability reform, transit-oriented development, real estate excise taxes, property taxes, rent control, or even algorithmic rent pricing. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. And thank you so much for being a Washington Realtor member.